Welcome to CRE Power Hour. My name is Lisa Marie Wand and my fabulous co-host Stephanie Gelsen. We have spent the last 2 decades growing and scaling our businesses. And together we are bringing you a new space to learn alongside the best in the real estate business at CRE Power Hour. Today, our guest is Eddy Nevarez. We're so excited to have you here, Eddy. We do have a live audience today, so please drop your name and where you're from, and we welcome you to ask questions to our panel. And let's get right to it. Hi, Eddy. Thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Stephanie, for this honor.
Hey, Stephanie, are you gonna intro her? Because
I've got to interject here. I have to, because again, when I was at the Globe Street conference back in July, Eddy was one of those people that I'm like, I got to know this person. I got to hear. Our stories were so similar in how we got started and how we're both single moms when we first started in the industry. Well, you still are, Eddy, but just a powerhouse. And did we coin this term on here the last show when we had Heather on? Badassery.
Badassery.
I like that.
Of badassery. Eddy, you fall into that category because let's see here. Here's what I love the most. And we all get to know people throughout this industry. And a lot of times we're always talking about, don't be fearful of this industry. Get into it, dive into it, and do some of the powerhouse things, because Eddy here already broke history. She's with Marcus and Millichap. She broke history because you were the first woman to ever win the Chairman of Excellence Award. Am I right?
Chairman's Circle of Excellence, yes.
Chairman's Circle of Excellence. And what does that mean? That means that she made over $3.5 million in gross commission income. Boom, boom. Yes. And when did you do that? 2021, right?
Yes, that was last year.
Awesome.
All right. That was last year.
Way to go.
Way to go. So tell everybody, because we've had several conversations now and have gotten to know each other, but tell everybody what got you in this space, because I love your story.
Sure. So I've been in real estate pretty much. I was born into it. My father was in real estate at a very young age when he came to this country as an immigrant. He worked really hard and started investing in apartment buildings and retail. And at a very young age, I learned from him. So I'm very blessed with that. At the age of 20, we had a mortgage company that we were working with together. I bought my first investment property with him at the age of 21. So I learned a little bit about the ropes. In 2006-07, everybody knows what happened, the big crash. We had to shut down our business. We had to shut down our mortgage company. We lost a lot of property. We also were investing in some home development in Malibu, which we were victims of a Ponzi scheme. So it was a really bad time for us. We pretty much went bankrupt. Unfortunately, my father, due to the stress, he also was a hard money lender in 2009, just died of a heart attack. So it was a very difficult time, and I was just left to take on pretty much the baton and learn from what he had taught me over the years. Developing relationship with lenders is what got me into the hospitality. And, I believe that whatever really is meant for you, it's going to happen in some way, because it's not like I planned ever, I'm going to sell hotels. So when I was working with lenders, they gave me notes. Remember back in 09, 010, notes were like the real big thing. But hotels is one of the big things that whenever there's a recession or whenever there's any type of change in the industry, hotels are the ones that are affected first. Lenders, they don't know what to do with the hotel. Hotel is a business. It comes with employees, with a management company, with restaurants. So they just wanted to get rid of them. And I knew clients that are here in LA and Beverly Hills that I had refinanced to other products. And I just shared them. I said, hey, I have these notes. They seem pretty good. Take a look at them. And that's what started my career in hospitality. They bought the notes. It was something that was very attractive. And all of a sudden, my phone starts getting just calls from investors that are looking that they want these notes. And I didn't know how to underwrite. I couldn't tell you anything about hotels. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to a hotel. It's very complicated. But all I know is that I had these notes and they were like the hottest commodity for me. Investors were calling me, and then brokers started to call me wanting to know how I had all these great opportunities. And that's how I got started in hospitality.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You know, the thing is, and you know, that's what inspires me about you and Lisa Marie's like this. I'm like this is that, you know, we kind of just fall into these spaces, but we see it through, right? You had no experience, but look at what you were able to see through and just reach in and literally overnight go from bankrupt to a success and to win.
Well, it wasn't, you know, that's one of it wasn't overnight.
Yeah.
You know, I want people to understand when they see like, oh my God, look at you, you know, you're a success now. When I got hired by Marcus and Millichap, then I really went through the training. They have a very extensive training just in commercial real estate, period. And then I went to another extensive training on how to completely underwrite hotels, what it entails. So then that was another training. And the notes that I was selling were big luxury hotels like W's, Fairmonts, those type of big assets. The hotels that I started to work with when I first got into hospitality, they were more of the smaller boutique hotels, more of the limited services that we call. That's what I started to get my feet wet, I guess. And little by little, every year it got better. Every year I learned more about the business. Every year I worked really hard to network myself, to market myself, so people would know me. Being a woman in this industry is very difficult, especially I think in hotels, because it's such a small niche. Investors, hoteliers, they already have pretty much their own brokers that they work with. If they are from Indian descent, as we know, there's a lot of hoteliers that are Patels or Punjabis, they literally go with their family brokers. If there is, you know, Asian hotel owners, which there's a lot, they go with the Asian community. If there's, so it goes that way. So here I am, a single mom, Latina, and I'm like, hey, you want to sell your hotel? It's like, who are you? I've never heard of you. So I really had to break some walls there. I really had to push really hard, go above and beyond. So I said, what am I going to have to do that is going to get the attention of these sellers? I have to do something that none of these brokers are doing. I have to go above and beyond. So I started to just do things that for free. I would do underwriting for free. I would do proposals for free. If they ever needed anything, they were working on other deals of their own and they just wanted my evaluation. I didn't get their deal. I didn't get their sale, but they just wanted a second opinion. Sure, I'll do that for you. So I started to do everything. If they wanted a meeting, I'd get on a plane and fly and meet them. If they wanted to just discuss something, I'd go and I meet them. And until people started to say, wow, she's really a hardworking person, let me give her a try. And that's how it started. It was like, let me give her a try. So when I would get a listing, I would make sure I mean, it's not like I had a bunch of listings or deals. I had one listing. So I'm going to sell that and I'm going to sell at the highest price. So that's how it started back in 2013. So it's kind of like it's like baby steps. In 2019, for the first time, I hit NAA, which is when you make over $1 million. That was a big thing as well for me. And then COVID came. And when COVID came, the first thing that was affected, of course, I mean, the whole country was affected, but hotels, there's no travel. Our industry is based on travel, leisure, business. The reason people travel is for two reasons. A couple of reasons, but a lot of it is business use. Second is leisure, when people travel for vacation. The country was shut down, so there was no travel. At that time, I was like, I just had bought a house. I'm not going under, not again, I said. So I started to just call every hotel owner, every client of mine, just asking, what can I help you with? We're all living a very unprecedented time. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but let me give you some information that I'm getting. I would get on a Zoom call that would give us information. Our company was really good. They would provide literally daily information on just to give us updates on what was going on as far as COVID. we would get on calls to discuss on what's happening with people who have loans. But I would then started to join other companies' calls. I started to join calls in Asia, in Europe, because they were a little bit more ahead. So I wanted to see how they were handling it. And I would get all this information and I would just inundate it with my clients. And they were just so appreciative. Some of my clients that really needed hand holding, and I would get on the call with their lenders, like, look, this is what lenders are doing. You know, this is what benefits that you could have. A lot of my clients are, you know, sophisticated. They have attorneys, they have a whole team, but some of them, they're just like mom and pop owners that were like, Eddy, I'm going to lose what I have. And I, understanding that I was in their shoes at one point, I just felt so bad for them. And I said, I'm going to help these people the best I can. Some of them had CMBS loans, and there was no way that you could get any type of anything. It's just, you needed to pay it. So that's when I started to get creative. I also got a lot of calls from clients who said, hey, they have a lot of cash. Any opportunities, please send them my way. So I started to put hotel owners that were desperate, that needed to sell, and they were more of the bigger boxes, kind of not what I usually was doing. And these full service hotels, because there was no more conferences, there's no more weddings, there's no more big events. And it wasn't going to be for a while. They were really hurting. So I put together portfolios for different clients and started to sell them for other use. There are clients who are looking to convert to multifamily, to senior housing, student housing. And that's been a niche that I've been continuing to do right now. So during that whole pandemic, when hotel lending was actually frozen, we got creative. And my clients said, listen, there's hotel lending is frozen, but multifamily isn't, senior housing isn't. For affordable housing, they're still lending. So that's why we got creative. And that's when I put together a portfolio for one client, and we closed a deal of 300 million in the middle of the pandemic, which hit big news because there were hotels. And I helped one client, they got a really good price. Then I helped my sellers, they didn't lose their properties. And, you know, it was a win-win for everybody. It opened a whole new avenue for me where a lot of big players in the business started to just reach out and say, Eddy, I have those type of assets that I want to sell. And then a lot of other clients started to reach out and say, hey, I'm looking to do the same thing. So I started to work with a lot of multifamily or senior housing or student housing clients now that are buying. I just got into contract right now, yesterday, actually today, 2 deals that they're for conversion, hotels that are going to be converted to multifamily. So it's just been a very nice ride. And like I said, things happen. I didn't intend to start doing the conversion process either. I'm doing hotels, but with real estate, what I love about real estate, it's an art. If you are in it for the long run, it's a lot of work. You have to get creative, and the market is constantly changing. So you have to change with the market. Right. You know, today's market is not going to be next year's market or in 5 years. So you have to learn and get creative. What are you going to do with what's happening right now? Everybody's saying, well, you know, the market, the interest rates, okay, deal with that. How are we going to do it? Let's get past that. Stop, you know, crying about it. Because when I remember when I had my mortgage company and we were doing loans, interest rates were 6-7%.
They were high. Yeah. They were really high.
8%.
When I got into real estate in 1999, 8.5% was a great rate.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that we got, I guess, spoiled for a couple years, and there was that 3.25 or 3.5. You know what? Good for you. You took advantage of that. But this is what it used to be. I remember my dad told me when he was buying his back in the 70s, it was like a 20%, 15% interest rate. Right. And people did it back then. So, you know, there's always ways to do things in real estate. And if you're good at it, you have to, like I said, get creative, not get sucked in by, oh no, pandemic, oh no, interest rates, oh no, a recession. You know, during a recession, it's when most people who have the cash become even richer because it's their time to. Right now, I have on the sidelines people with a lot of money waiting just to, we're ready whenever you see anything, Eddy, for notes, for closures or for when prices start to drop. So it's
Eddy,
been a ride. So when you say it was a success overnight, it wasn't overnight. It seems like it was, but it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of no's. It's been a lot of tears because it's not all pretty. You know, at the end of the day, I say we're women in a male's territory, but at the end of the day, we're still women. We have feelings. There's times I will never cry in front of a guy, but there's times that I would come home and have a good cry for 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, it's out. I let it out. All right, let's get back at it and let's do it again. So
Eddy, I love your story, and the word that I would use to describe you right now, just listening to what you're saying to our live audience and those that'll be listening later, is hustle.
yeah.
And hustle is so important in this business. And sometimes women hesitate and they don't want to hustle because they're not used to being, surrounded by all of these men. But there's two things that you talked about. One is doing what other people won't do to get a listing or to help their clients. So that's the creativity, thinking outside of the box, and then also being in the flow with the market and being able to pivot. I mean, even right now, like what you're talking about, we're seeing things shift. So what would you say to less experienced commercial agents and brokers out there about this hustle we're talking about? Because
Sure.
you can be born with it, but you can also learn it. I know that that's true. So talk to us.
So, it's funny. My manager always says, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing this, but it's not.
Yep.
You have to have a mentality. If you want to get into this, it's not fast, easy money. It's a career. If you want to make it a long-time career, first of all, you have to really develop your skills on speaking to clients, because sometimes you only get one chance, an opportunity to speak to someone. And when you get on that phone or when you go to that meeting, you better know what you're saying, because if you go in there and you sound like an idiot, unexperienced, and you have no idea what you're saying, they won't give you a second chance. You're dealing with very powerful multi-millionaire investors. So when you get in front of them or on a call or you speak to them, don't ever show fear. Be confident. Know who you are. When you go and speak to anybody in the commercial arena, whatever niche, whatever product type that you're doing, you better study that and know exactly your surroundings, because you need to be that, excuse my language, that badass bitch that's showing them like, look, I know your market, I know who's buying, I know who's selling, and this is why you should work with me. They should see that, wow, she's a powerhouse, she's a powerful woman, she's confident, she doesn't get intimidated. They might even try to, there's clients who have said to me, I give you such a hard time at the beginning, Eddy, and you wouldn't even blink. You just stood there and took it with grace, and they could be testing you at times. Right. It's a business that needs a lot of discipline, a lot of dedication. You might get a lot of no's before you get a yes. And this is the type of business we're in. The rewards are great, but you have to put in the work. For me, when people ask me, what made you continue in this business, even when it got tough? For me, it's the challenges drive me. And it was a fear of, am I going to make it? Am I going to do it? I don't want to lose. I have a son. I'm a single and only parent to a son. And when I started, actually, when my father died 2 weeks later, I delivered my son as a single mom. I had just lost everything. I had just buried my dad. I was a single mom to a newborn. I didn't even know how to be a mom. And I said, I'm not going to fail him. I'm going to do everything in my power to give him everything he deserves. And I think that's my drive. It's just like, if you're a female, if you're a mother, if you're a wife, it's almost like, you know what? I need to prove to myself, but I need someone to see that, look at who I am. I'm someone's mother, and I want him to think like, my mom did this. She's a badass mother. She's raising me. She's providing for me. I'm teaching him the ropes of real life. Nothing's given to you. 10 years ago, I had nothing. I had just lost everything. Look at me now. I mean, yeah, I'm a millionaire by the grace of God, not by my power. And I owe it all to, I'm strong. I work really hard. But at the end of the day, I feel that everything comes from up above, and I'm not trying to preach here, but I feel like if you're a woman in the business and you have a heart, God will put things in your way that you don't even know. You'll be blown away like, because things don't just happen. It's just, Stephanie knows. If I tell you stories like how I'm meeting people and how they say, I want to work only with you, I'm not the brightest. I don't have a Harvard degree, but I'm a damn ass hardworking woman that delivers, that closes, and I will get shit done, And I think that's what people,
That's right.
I think that's what people are looking for in this business, like someone that they could trust. And if they have a 20, $30 million building and you show them the history of what you've done and you can deliver, they're like, wow, this woman will go out and do whatever she says she's going to do. I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Stephanie?
I'm so glad you touched on that, because it's true, you all. It's people want to work with people that they know are going to get it done, that have the ability to pivot, that don't flinch, that don't freak out. Just this week, and this has happened throughout the course of many of our careers, I know it has, but none of us on this call went to Harvard. Who gives a shit about Harvard, right? Sorry, Harvard, love you, but not, we don't need that. I have a client who is very, very, very wealthy. He's on the Forbes list. And he said, if somebody has to tell me they went to Harvard, he goes, what the fuck does that even mean? Excuse my language, don't want to really cuss, but he was like, what does that even mean? He goes, can you work? Can you get stuff done? Can you get my deal? Can you protect me? That's what they care about, right? And so, and this came, like I said, from a guy who's worth billions and billions of dollars. And he said, if somebody has to tell me they have a Harvard degree, then they don't know what they're doing in this world, because they don't know how to go out and work if that is the number one thing they're going to introduce themselves with. And I just thought, makes a little bit of sense, right?
I mean, education's great. Education is great. And to people who do go to Harvard, kudos to them. All I'm saying is that I'm not that person that went to Harvard, but I'm a damn hardworking woman, that will get shit done and that has a record that can follow it. And I think at the end of the day, it's how bad do you want it? How much do you want it? Because it's available for everybody. There's enough for all of us to go around. So if you really want it and you're new to this business, it's not easy, and don't get discouraged by, your first 2-3 years can be your difficult years, but I think they're your most challenging years that will teach you the biggest lessons moving forward. They will teach you to be disciplined. They will teach you you'll learn from mistakes. I made mistakes, and that's how I learned. Like, I guarantee you I'm not going to do that next time in my deal. And I'm not going to take that shit from that client next time when he speaks to me that way. It's just a learning process, all of it. So even when it looks hard, or when you are like, today's a bad day, there were days that I did have bad days. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to stop today, go refresh myself, go unwind, go do what I need to. And tomorrow's a new day. That's the way you just have to look at it. Tomorrow's a new day. There's new opportunities. Everybody has bad days. Everybody has deals that fall apart. We all do. I don't care if you're the best broker in the world. It happens to all of us. Shit happens in this world, right? But you keep on moving. Every day's a new day for you to make new deals, new opportunities, meet new clients. Always be ready.
Resilience.
Yes.
That's one of the many things I love about commercial real estate and being a powerhouse female like the three of us are in this business, is that there is opportunity out there for everyone if you're willing to go and get it. And so here I am in Mexico celebrating my dad's birthday, and I get a call that we have an opportunity at a $12 million listing. And so I pull my people together. We're making it happen. And these people found me on social media, because I'm big on social media, and social proof is one of those ways nowadays that people can start to build some trust and rapport with you before they even meet you. So it's really unique the way that we can do business now in commercial real estate. We're not doing stuff face to face all the time, right? I mean, I'm sure, Eddy, there's clients of yours that you don't see. You talk to them on the phone, or maybe talk to them on Zoom, but you're making these deals happen.
Yeah.
And I say, why not go for the big deals? Because Stephanie, you and I have talked about this, the smaller deals we do, it doesn't mean they're not important. They're just as much work or more work than the big deals. And, I'm saying this to those people out there who are in commercial real estate. I say, why not go big? Like think huge. We talk about thinking global, you know, why not? Because you can do it. You can do it. Put the
Absolutely.
work in.
Well, and I
I
think too,
agree.
let's go back to your huge award. And I love that you're the first woman to ever win that award at Marcus and Millichap. I think that is amazing. And think about how long Marcus and Millichap has been around, and to think that just last year a woman finally won it. I mean, think about that. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
And you know, the funny thing is, I didn't even, when I was, and this is something I guess good, when I was just out there hustling, as you want to say it, and making sure my deals were closed, I didn't care about being the number one. I didn't care. I wasn't doing it to be the number one. I wasn't doing it to be the first female, because I didn't even know that.
right.
So when they called me, they're like, Eddy, you reached Circle Chairman's of X. I knew what you had to do over 3.5. And I was like, woohoo, yeah. Then like 20 minutes later, I get a call and they said, Eddy, we just got a call. Like, you're the first female that has ever reached this in Marcus and Millichap. And I was shocked, because in 52 years the company's been around, no woman has ever done that. And I was like, wow. And not only that, I have to say this, because I was at a company retreat, CIA, which all the top agents go to. And a couple agents said to me, I've been with Marcus for 20 years, 25, and I have a team of 10. I have a team of 20 under me. I've hit chairman's, but I've never hit circle. He's like, and you're just one, you don't have a team. Meaning those guys that have a team, they get part of whatever their team is making, right?
Yeah.
I did this on my own. At that time, I didn't even have an assistant. I didn't have a marketing coordinator. It was just Eddy all by herself at home, because we were at COVID, and I did that.
Yeah.
So that goes to show the level of that we as women, I'm categorizing all of us, that the power we have to do things if you really put your mind to it. You know, when COVID hit, I remember I said, wow, it was scary, like the first couple of weeks. But I remember the first time when everything got shut down. And again, I don't mean to preach faith, but I got my son and I said, let's pray, because we're not going to lose anything. It's going to be our best year. And me and my son held hands and we prayed and we said, we're going to be protected and we're going to pay every bill and we're going to continue to exceed. And you know what? When you have that mentality and you speak it out and you believe it, look what happened.
That's right.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
So Eddy, what would you say to our viewers? Because you've shared a lot of personal, heartfelt, spiritual information today. And I so appreciate that about you, because I'm also a woman of faith. And would you like for you to share with our audience, what do you consider, besides these wonderful things you've told us, what's your secret sauce?
I don't have a secret sauce. I just work hard. Every day I wake up, it's just like, let's go get them. Let's go do it. You know, I work really hard. I network a lot. I'm at every conference out there. I travel wherever my clients need me to, which, funny to say, a lot of the clients said, I've never met one of my brokers, or they don't come and look at our properties, or other brokers that I found, worked with, they sell my properties, but they don't even tour it. So to me, it's like, you need to have, I know we live in the time where everything is, you could Zoom people, you could FaceTime, but there's nothing like personal relationships. So I get on a plane, I go tour those properties, I meet with the client one-on-one. Every time I close a deal, I have a celebratory dinner with them. And you would not believe how much that goes a long way. Mm-hmm. I still continue to look out for my clients. They become, most of them, my friends, because I have that personal relationship. And at the end of the day, I've learned, and I tell my clients, like, listen, deals and business will always be there. Okay. But it's relationships. This is a relationship business. If you develop good relationships, you're honest. Number one thing, be honest, be truthful, because in this business, your word is everything that matters. You don't want a reputation that, oh, she says she's going to do this and she never does it. She never emails. She never comes through. You don't want that reputation. If you say you're going to do something, you better do it. Come through, deliver. Yeah. I think that was something that my father instilled in me at a very young age. It's like, 101 in business, Eddy, the most important thing that you will ever that I can teach you is If you say you're going to do something, you better do it, because in an instant, your reputation could be tainted, and that's it. So whenever I say, and people know me, like I will go above and beyond for my clients, and I will do what I say I'm going to do, because my word is everything.
Well, I would say you do have, that secret sauce or that special thing you do, because not everybody will go and fly to see a client or have a celebratory dinner with them or create relationships with them beyond the transaction. Commercial real estate agents are known in general for like being hands off, like you said, maybe never even touring a property. So I would say that that's something that makes you who you are, Eddy, is that you form those relationships. Stephanie and I are the same way. I think that's why we relate to each other, is most of my clients become friends. And I love that. I mean, that's what makes all the hard work worth it, right? Is that you can have that relationship. I had a client that called me the other day. We talked for an hour on the phone. I didn't have an hour, but we talked for an hour on the phone before we even started talking about business. And I got off the phone and I was like, that was such a good feeling to have that connection with someone, to have that impact in their life beyond buying and selling a commercial asset.
If they see that, I had one client who would call me just to talk about, she was an elderly woman and she had a lot of property, but she would just call me just wanted to talk. And I would listen to her. And she said, I'm going to give you all my properties to sell, because some people just want to be heard, and they see if you have that heart to listen to them on a personal, and you gain their trust, they will trust you with their business as well.
That's right.
You genuinely have, I genuinely do it because I want to. It's, don't be fake either. Be genuine, be true. If you're genuine and true, I think that this business will take you very, very, very far.
That's right. Well, and I think that's why majority of all of our clients are repeat, right? Repeat.
Yeah.
We've married these clients. And I said that the other day, when I was working on a newer client with an exclusive agreement, I said, look, I want 3 years, and here's why I want 3 years. I don't want to date you, Don. I want to marry you. We're going to get married during this relationship. And he laughed and he signed a 3-year deal. I just told him I don't date short term. That's how I did it.
You got a 3-year listing?
No, a 3-year exclusive to represent them on anything they buy going forward.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's a very long listing.
No, 3 years on purchasing.
That's badassery, Stephanie.
It was so funny because when we were going back and forth, it was like 6:30 in the morning on text message, but I said it like that because listening and having conversations with him, I also understood, and because I'm listening to him, I understand how he thinks, and words or phrases or imagery that he would appreciate and relate to. And so he's kind of got that dry sense of humor a little bit. But me telling him, I don't want to date you short term. I'd like for this to be at least a 3-year marriage. He got it and he signed it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And one of the things I learned during the beginning of the pandemic, which I think is serving all of us, because we used to ask our guests, like, what did you learn from the pandemic? And the answers were very similar, but it sounds like what we all learned. I spent 3 months on the phone from my downtown high-rise condo, just calling and talking to people like you did, Eddy. And sometimes people just wanted to talk on the phone for 45 minutes because maybe they didn't have someone to talk to, or they had concerns or whatever. And then those relationships come to fruition. The time and the care that we take, those turn into deals a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And friendships and everything else. And referrals are big in this business.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think, Stephanie?
Oh, 100%. That's most of our business comes from referrals. That's what it's all about. This week I'm in Nashville at a conference with 2 of my team members. And that's what we're doing down here, is we're building relationships with future people that are going to need us to do that exit strategy, right?
Yeah.
you know, when you walk into the opportunity, and I think we talk about that, and Eddy, you do this so well because you go to all these conferences, you are networking. That's rule number one, you all. Get out and network. Because I'm down here this week, and that's what we're doing is we're networking. We may not get a listing or that sale tomorrow, but within
Down the line.
months, we're going to get a slew of them because we're at a conference where you can look around and see the attendees and look at their age bracket and know that they're going to be wanting to retire here soon, right? And so just look for that future business, but start now building those relationships. And so you've got to get tuned in. You've got to engage. A lot of times people, you know, when COVID happened, a lot of times people are like, oh, well, now we just stay home and we just talk via Zoom and that's enough. No, any opportunity you get, still get back into. I mean, the Globe Street conference, Eddy, that you and I met at. I mean, that's how we met. We wouldn't have met each other. We wouldn't be here talking today if we hadn't both attended that. That conference was huge for me, and it was huge for you as well. But just getting out and meeting other people and building relationships with other commercial practitioners in this industry, that's huge too. That's what I have a goal every single week, that I want to make 80 new connections in the commercial real estate industry, whether it's lenders, capital, brokers, potential clients, whatever. That's my goal, is I make 80 new relationships each and every single week. That's why I do the business that I do.
Very good. Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, part of, like I said, commercial real estate is all relationship based. And most of, if not all of my relationships have been either at events or conferences that I attend, or marketing myself. So absolutely.
I love it. Well, I think today's been awesome. I appreciate you coming on and
my pleasure.
Everyone who you are, because you are the definition of badassery, and we don't allow people to carry that name just out the whim. You have to be awarded with that. So Lisa Marie, Eddy's our next one, right?
Yeah, you have to be the badass criteria. So Eddy, thanks so much for being on CRE.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Today.
Thank you, my pleasure.
We're here every second and fourth Wednesday of every single month.
Okay.
Join us on YouTube, CRE Power Hour, and we also have a podcast. So check us out. You can watch our previous episodes. And thanks again, Eddy, for being here.
Thank you. Can I take a quick picture?
Yeah, take a quick picture. And we'll share this out. It'll go on our anchor channel as well today. So
okay. Thank you guys so much. And anytime you guys need anything, I'm here for you ladies. Okay.
All right.
Love you guys.
Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.